Tesla FSD Supervised 12.43 Initial Drive and Thoughts. Your return to the channel is something that we are overjoyed to see. Today we are going to investigate the most recent version of FSD Supervised, which is version 12.43. After a 5-day break for vacation, it is an exciting experience to return to this new version since it represents a considerable divergence from 12.36 and adds a fundamental change. The in-cabin camera eliminates the need for interaction with the steering wheel. During a time that we are leaving the community, we ought to monitor how well this update performs on our test process. Given the significance of first impressions, we ought to get started right away. Our present speed is 19 miles per hour, and we are about to reach a zone that allows for 20 miles per hour. A domestic setting would be an appropriate setting for this. There is a left turn from a stop sign up ahead that is unprotected by any barriers. In the meantime, the system is making steady progress, assessing the current state of affairs and committing to a safe course of action as soon as it becomes apparent. Despite initial concerns over visibility from the B pillar on the driver's side, it was able to handle this scenario effectively. In the process of approaching our first roundabout, the system displays a sense of self-assurance, accurately indicating that it is exciting. Despite this, it moves at a slow 19 miles per hour in a zone that is 25 miles per hour. The performance of the car improves at the second roundabout as it can accelerate to 30 miles per hour in the same 25 mile per hour zone and displays appropriate lane behavior with a white Model I in the back. Nevertheless, it starts to gradually slow down to 23 miles per hour, which is not necessary. As far as the maintenance of acceptable speeds is concerned, it is quite evident that there is room for improvement. Instead of asking for engagement with the steering wheel directly, the system will prompt a reminder to pay attention to the road before it does so. Because it acknowledges the importance of driver alertness without being overly intrusive, this is a clever addition. The vehicle reaches a speed of 45 miles per hour as we approach a zone with a speed limit of 35 miles per hour after the third roundabout. This pace is not only pleasant but also suitable. It can confidently navigate the curve while maintaining a speed of 38 miles per hour while navigating a bend with a suggested speed restriction of 25 miles per hour. At the succeeding green light, a noteworthy discovery is made. The system has to be improved in its capacity to manage transitions from yellow to green light. Previous versions had issues with sudden slowing when approaching a yellow light, which increased the chance of rear-end crashes. This was particularly problematic for vehicles that were approaching the light. During our tests, we did not come across any yellow light situations that were troublesome. Nonetheless, it is a potential issue that should be taken into consideration for any future improvements. Prompt a reminder to pay attention to the road before it does so. Because it acknowledges the importance of driver alertness without being overly intrusive, this is a clever addition. The vehicle reaches a speed of 45 miles per hour as we approach a zone with a speed limit of 35 miles per hour after the third roundabout. This pace is not only pleasant but also suitable. It can confidently navigate the curve while maintaining a speed of 38 miles per hour while navigating a bend with a suggested speed restriction of 25 miles per hour. At the succeeding green light, a noteworthy discovery is made. The system has to be improved in its capacity to manage transitions from yellow to green light. Previous versions had issues with sudden slowing when approaching a yellow light, which increased the chance of rear-end crashes. This was particularly problematic for vehicles that were approaching the light. During our tests, we did not come across any yellow light situations that were troublesome. Nonetheless, it is a potential issue that should be taken into consideration for any future improvements. Our destination for the test drive that we are going to do today is a neighborhood that has a park in it. We will navigate near the park, even though we will not be able to enter it. After that, we will construct a new destination that will lead us further down this route. To overcome the impending difficulty, we will need to execute a left turn that is not protected, which will require us to cross 4 lanes of traffic, 2 lanes heading north and 2 lanes heading south. Because there is very little traffic on a Sunday morning at about 10 o'clock, this evaluation of the vehicle's performance with this move is an excellent opportunity to take advantage of. At the moment, we are operating within a zone that allows for a speed of 40 miles per hour. When we were moving at a pace of 52 miles per hour, which was a little bit too fast for my liking we had been going, I prefer to keep my speed at 10 miles per hour, which is higher than the posted limit. At the moment, we have lowered our speed to 48 miles per hour, which seems to be more appropriate for this region. The brand new function that eliminates the need for steering wheels is extremely remarkable. Because I am no longer required to touch the steering wheel frequently to reset the system's timer, it gives me the impression that I am a passenger rather than a driver. As a result of this autonomy, I can glance to the left or right as necessary without being constantly reminded to face forward. This is a significant improvement over the prior versions. Approximately half a mile from here, we will be turning right onto the right side of the road. At the moment, we are moving at a speed of 45 miles per hour in a zone that is 40 miles per hour, which is a speed that is considered acceptable. However, this illustrates that Tesla's auto speed adjustment technology still has to be improved upon in the future. The fact that these problems will be fixed in subsequent versions is something that we are hoping for. The vehicle maintains its calm throughout the right turn, even though the turn is relatively sluggish as we get closer to it. In the 30 miles per hour zone that is immediately following us, we are currently moving at a pace of 27 miles per hour. On the other hand, it would be ideal if we were to adhere to the speed restriction that is located here more precisely. Following that, we come across a left turn that is unprotected and relatively tiny, with only one lane in each way. Because automobiles are coming from all different directions, the situation is rather confusing. There is a blue RAV4 that is turning right, and it is blocking the view of the traffic that is coming off to the right. According to the system's reliable assessment, it is not yet safe to proceed with the process. The vehicle can make the turn successfully once the way is clear, which includes after a silver SUV has passed through the intersection. After we have arrived at our destination, I will decide not to go into the park. Instead, I will create a new destination that will allow us to reach the unprotected left turn that was specified earlier in the sentence. To continue with our demonstration drive, I will reactivate the system and carry out the left-hand turn in the manner that was specifically designed. This test drive is an extension of our examination into FSD Supervised version 12.43, which we are now conducting. As we make our way through the residential neighborhood, we are getting ready to carry out a more complex maneuver. This maneuver is an unprotected left turn, which requires us to cross 2 lanes of traffic and enter a median. As we get closer, I am urged to keep my attention on the situation. The fact that the alert disappears after a glance in the direction of the front of the room is an indication that the system is successfully monitoring my attention. Despite this, we are confronted with an odd condition in which the system asks for input from the steering wheel even though it is operating in active attention monitoring mode. This strange behavior may be the result of an indistinct vision of the driver even though I have not changed my appearance or moved in any way that would impede the camera's view. Following that, the system executes a right-hand turn without any issues. As we get closer to the left turn that is not protected, we come to a stop, the stop bar, and then gradually move forward. As a result of a group of vehicles approaching from the left, the system initially considers whether or not to go, but in the end, it concludes that waiting is the most appropriate course of action. The patience of the car is rewarded when the traffic coming from the opposite direction ceases, and it gets ready to make the turn. The algorithm confidently navigates the turn once the path is clear from both directions, even though a Prius obscures a portion of the vision. Generally speaking, the first drive with version 12.43 is filled with good fortune. The monitoring that took place within the cabin revealed a slight anomaly, which was most likely brought on by a temporary problem with visibility. Even though there are ongoing difficulties with speed regulation, such as the car occasionally driving too slowly in residential areas and too quickly in other regions, the general comfort and confidence in the system's decision-making are good. Particularly noteworthy is the absence of line dancing, which was a common problem in earlier editions of the video game. On the other hand, we have not yet carried out testing in situations similar to those in which this was commonly observed. In subsequent videos, this particular facet will be studied in greater depth. There has been very little interference from the steering wheel and there have been no disengagements. The experience has been positive thus far. It's very much appreciated that you are taking part in our adventure. Maintain vigilance to stay informed of any further updates and conduct thorough assessments. Until then, I will catch up with you in the next video.